Doing the thing.
Want fear. Oh yeah? Well, so's your face. Stop touching my magic ball. Well, you're mistaken.
Vidka?
Discipline and not have quite as many mysterious deaths, Sunnydale is gonna rule!
Hey everybody, and welcome to a very special bonus episode of GurArdCast. I am, as always, your host, Brandon Ellison, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host,
the one and only Jewel Rocket Rose, who's also moonlighting as Morticia this evening. I mean, that was not meant to happen, but the light bulb went out in the lamp in the room, and I am just a poor sad human who cannot change it. Yeah.
And I am disguised as Dennis the Menace in a 5-year-old's room. So this really
you are so Dennis the Menace.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
I love
it. And so we decided, so Jewel and I have been nonstop at this podcast. At most, we've taken a week off in between seasons and whatever. And we've gotten through
Meanwhile,
4
still
seasons.
Doing other jobs.
And doing our other stuff. We've gotten through 4 seasons of Buffy. We've gotten through 1 season of Angel. It's been a lot. We decided to take a few weeks. So we will, before we get into things, we will return on Valentine's Day with our beginning of the season 5 coverage of Buffy and season 2 coverage of Angel. And I'll be posting the episode order on our page so you can see which ones we're going to be watching and just follow
that's
the
for
events.
real, because Brandon and I, like, neither of us are going to have anything to do on Valentine's Day. We've been inside for a long time.
Frankly, before COVID.
Yeah.
We've been inside for a while.
2020 was an
interesting
dry
code
year.
word for single. We've been inside. So, Jewel, before we start, so let me explain to people what we're doing.
What are we doing?
We love giving advice. Jewel and I give each other advice. We give advice for other people, and we give advice for people that we don't know and cannot hear us give advice constantly. She should do it this way. She should do this.
Well, yeah.
We are so unqualified, and yet here we are. So we've put out a feeler. So we want to get your questions about Buffy, about Angel, and our experiences with the show, but we also want to answer some life advice questions for you. So this is just very open participation with our fans, figuring out where people are, what we're doing, etc., etc., etc.
Fluid.
And I can't. Every time I say our fans, it makes me a little bit sick because I'm just like, what am I talking about?
Fans with
our fans.
Fans.
Yeah, all of our fan. So
Singular.
I still am shocked that people watch our show after all this time.
Beyond.
But I'm so happy that you guys do, because at least I love doing it. I think Jewel has good and bad days.
I had to help my boss with something, called me into work last minute. Will not happen again, but that's it's Sunday. It is God's day. Some God, I don't care who's God, one of the God's days. This is a day that's for them. So, went and helped the boss out. And then I told him, he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I have a podcast. And I told him how many people listen. And he was like, what? Because on his seminar today, there were very few people.
To anyone who is watching this live and is in our Patreon group on Facebook, I posted the link to this stream. So if you want to join the stream, you can ask us a question, or you can join us in answering a question, and I'll add you in as you come in on the line. We also potentially have some special guests joining us, if not for this one, then for the next one. But we'll see.
Listen, I dropped the ball kind of, so if they show it, this is a hail fucking
yes. So if they come on, they do it. If they don't, it's just us. But we're going to do another one of these, I think, because we got a lot of questions. And I'm trying to get through them all, but it's a lot.
Seriously? We have that many? My God. Someone asked us questions. Good God. I am a qualified therapist, technically. I have a degree.
Yeah.
Are we afraid of this?
I'm a little
I'm not a medical. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. Okay. So here we go. There's gonna be
Oh,
technical
boy.
issues with this PowerPoint presentation because I haven't used the screen share on StreamYard yet. So let's see how it goes.
It's gonna go
It
great.
did not
We're
go.
gonna love it. There
Okay.
it is. Ooh.
So Jamie in Los Angeles has asked us, hey guys, what are some charities you recommend donating time and money to? This is a great question for me and Jewel because we work a lot with charity stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Jewel, I'll let you go first.
Ooh, okay. So if you're asking me, I feel like I cannot advise people on how they should spend their money, but I can tell them how I would spend mine and what I designate some of my life money to. I'm a big animal, not to say like, animals are better than humans, but let's be real, who doesn't love dogs? So I'm more inclined to give to a dog related charity. However, there is this thing that I do. You guys don't have to do it. This is what I do when I go to a drive-through because sometimes mama needs a Diet Coke. Okay. Listen, they're $1 at McDonald's and they have the best straw girth and glass piping.
Straw girth.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
We have been inside for a while. We're thinking about straw girth.
So if I see a homeless person sitting outside of a McDonald's, I automatically, or any fast food place, if I pass through, automatically I'm buying them a meal, a burger, whatever it is. If they have a dog with them, I'm buying 3. So I buy whatever it is and then I get it to them. If I can ask them what drink they would prefer, I do. But that's just something little you can do. I feel like start small and then grow. Do more.
Yeah. I have a few charities. So we did back in, I think it was May, we did a quiz for a cause where we raised a few $1,000s for Direct Relief, which was giving direct assistance to people that were affected by COVID in one way or the other. And of course, COVID blew up since then. But I really like Direct Relief. They were great to work with. Their SWOP, which is the Sex Workers Outreach Project, is a group that provides legal assistance and job placement and generally helps people who are sex workers who are arrested for it. And I've done a few fundraisers for them. I really like what they do. I'm a big libertarian, so I'm all like, let's legalize sex work. And also, like, it's dangerous to be a sex worker. There's no legal protections. If you get raped, if you get beat, if you get abused, you can't go to the police because they'll arrest you for committing a crime. It's horrible. Nice light episode, I know. Anyway, so I like that Sex Workers Outreach Project, or SWAP, has a program called Behind Bars, and I recommend donate as much money as you can in their direction because they are a wonderful organization. Also, Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, I'm a big fan of as well. They are in Kanab, Utah. They are the single largest animal sanctuary in the world, and they take only problem animals. So these are animals that can't be adopted because they have disabilities or because they were for instance, they have a lot of Michael Vick's dogs from the dog fighting days.
Yeah, so did Villalobos from Pitbulls and Parolees. Obsessed with that show.
And those can't be adopted out because they were used in crime, so there's still evidence. So give them money, and even more importantly, go visit them. If you're anywhere near Utah, it's like 2.5 hours from Vegas. It's like 5.5 hours from LA, depending on how you drive. And it's like 2 hours from Salt Lake. It's super cool. Like, they have a big ranch. They take exotic animals. They take cats. They take dogs. Anything that basically has any kind of complication and can't be adopted out, they take them and they keep them there forever. And they have a cemetery for them once they pass, which is very lovely. I highly, highly recommend making the trip there and just going and helping. They need people to walk dogs. They need people to donate time. So if you can't afford giving them money, go there. Have a good time. Call it a weekend. And you can pick your favorite dogs and take them back to your hotel with you and keep them for the night and have a sleepover with the dogs or cats that are there. It's the cutest fucking thing in the world.
That's adorable. But I love how your stuff is also like more like big picture, long-term plans. And I'm like, instant gratification. Buy someone a cheeseburger.
My personal hero, Carrie Fisher, always said instant gratification takes too long.
That's true.
Okay, so let's jump into our next question. So far, so good. Here we go. Kevin from Portland asks, and this is a long one.
Kevin. Oh my God, this is
listen.
very involved. I might have to read this.
Kevin met a guy on Tinder. He's a college senior. He's very hot, and they started talking, and he mentions that he's looking for like a sugar daddy relationship. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about Kevin. Kevin is an older friend of mine. He has a very good job. He makes a lot of money. He's single, and he's been single for a while, and he has a hard time meeting guys because what he's attracted to versus what's attracted to him, he finds it hard dating. So I get it.
Oh.
So anyway.
So he's a lower number and he's looking for a higher number. He's trying to date up.
No, the other way around. Kevin has the money and he's looking for like a sugar baby.
Right.
And he meets a guy who says that he's on this website called Seeking Arrangement, but he's never found a sugar daddy. And he found his account and it says that he hasn't logged in 5 months. And so Kevin is like, yeah, I can see like this guy is whatever. And he says that he wants a friend who helps him out and takes him on trips. And to him, this seems like a really honest situation and highly acceptable. He wants to do this, but he wants to figure out the way to maximize what he gets out of this and minimize the costs. So they're going to meet up and have a talk about the arrangement. What do you think is the correct approach here? And before we go into this, I'm going to bring Naomi on. Naomi's been sitting here in the room. Hi. Waiting to come on. Naomi, did you hear that whole question?
Yeah. I was
So
pondering it.
Let's break this down. So to summarize, Kevin, very wealthy, good job, good friend of mine. He is in a situation where he has excess amounts of money, as we all wish we did. And he doesn't really want a relationship with someone his age or his income level. He wants to have someone he can take care of, and they have like an arrangement.
What about his attractiveness level? Like, are we like out of 1 to 10? Are we in the lower bracket or the higher bracket? Because I think that matters.
You're asking how attractive Kevin is?
Yes.
I feel like you're putting me in a really bad position here, Jewel.
Well, and I mean, and that's not even because he's asking about.
I would say he's a
gets...
pretty attractive guy. I'd say he's like pretty. I would say like.
But Jewel, you're going from the wrong perspective.
I agree.
We're not worried about how attractive Kevin is. We're worried about how does Kevin get the most out of this type of arrangement.
And the complication being like, what happens if he catches feelings? What happens if this, you know what I mean? Like what happens when this arrangement becomes something outside of this arrangement?
Let me just put it this way. Yeah. I don't think it's ever a good idea to pay someone for a relationship. Unless you go in with the expectation of you are paying this person to love you, basically, is really what I feel that it boils down to. I was in the sorority, like everyone says, I'm buying my friends. Technically, I am. I am buying the ability to hang out with people who could move my career forward in the future. That was why I joined a sorority, and also because you weren't allowed to go to parties before 9 o'clock unless you were in the sorority, which is really annoying. Like, they didn't open up publicly until midnight, so you had to wait while they partied for 3 hours, and then you could be let in.
Okay.
So it was, but that's all I'm saying. I just feel like if you're going to pay for it, you have to understand you're paying for it and accept that you're paying for it. This person is using you for your wealth and you are using them for their body.
Yeah.
I think I would have a lot of questions for the younger person, presumably younger person, who, in terms of like, I would want to know, other than my wealth, like, what exactly are you looking for? Are you looking for a romantic relationship, or are you really just looking for literally just a platonic friend? I mean, I feel like it's an unconventional concept that, you know, I probably would never do, but that, you know, if you're going to do that, you need to like set a lot of ground rules, right? Like, and really talk it out. I mean, it's kind of like, you know,
that's how 50 Shades of Grey started out. I'm just saying it was a contractual obligation.
That's an example, although I've never read or seen or whatever. But
it's a contract. You're laying out what the rules are,
right? And I mean, the same goes for like poly relationships. There has to be open lines of communication all the time, because that's how you avoid people getting hurt, right?
I gotta tell you, that's not a me thing. I would never be involved with something like that. I am far too possessive,
Right, but other
far
people,
too insecure, and far too jealous.
But
Like, I
other
don't think
people do it all the time. I mean, it's
I don't think
very
most people
commonplace.
do
really.
it well. I don't think most people do it well at all.
Well, maybe you just don't know a lot of poly people.
That's true.
So
the ones I
I-
have seen, I
yeah.
don't believe this worked.
I mean,
at
I don't
all.
see any relationships really work. And that's why I'm so bitter and single. So I don't care if it's poly or monogamous or whatever. Here's what I'll say about Kevin's situation. Kevin, I think as long as he meets up with this guy, they have an understanding, maybe even a contract of this is what this is for. I will pay you X amount of money, or I will take you on this vacation or this vacation. And in return, when I need to get some action, you're there and whatever. Like when I come home from work, if I've worked a 12 or 15-hour day, I want to come home and I want someone to cuddle with and I want some blah, blah, blah. And I think that's okay. I think the difficulty is going to be if one of them catches feelings, like I said before. Like if
question.
Yes.
Does this mean that this college Tinder kid, does he get to see other people when he's not with Kevin?
Yeah.
That would have to be part of what they work out.
I think that is this for, like, is this a monogamous like situation? Because you can be a sugar person relationship and it not be monogamous. You have to limit the terms. I don't think it's a great idea, Kevin. I'm just saying. I feel like if you are looking for companionship, this isn't what you're looking for. If you're looking for like a consistent bang, that's more of what this would be. And you have to buy them stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's okay. Like I don't have a problem with paying for sex, but it's like you said, like there's always complications when it comes to these like sugar daddy relationships. And I'll tell you, and I don't want to bring Kevin's personal shit into things, but he's tried this before with people and it hasn't worked out because he's caught feelings and he's like, but what his difference is in this situation is that before they didn't have a spoken understanding of what this was. And I think if you have a spoken or even better a written understanding, then I think it's a little more doable. Yeah. I could do it, but I would be very by the books contract to do it. Well, I don't fall in love though.
Well, and I would also like okay. And I would also part of that kind of contracty and whatever is that there has to be, it's not just like, let's write a contract and then we stick to that forever. It's like, there has to be we need to check in with each other every month or whatever and make sure that this is still working okay, because like I said, it's not a conventional relationship. So all relationships are supposed to take work, but because this is kind of unconventional,
you're skipping right past the work and going right into the arrangement.
Yeah, right. It's like you have, and you must continually check in with each other and make sure that it's still okay for both people, so that it does not become a kind of user abuser relationship on either side.
And I get it, because I'm kind of career focused. Well, right now I'm focused on a million things because my life went through a tornado at the beginning of the year. But I'm very career focused and I'm very focused on doing what I want to do, and I don't want to be in a relationship, and I've made that abundantly clear. And I have met up with I've been outside with people and with the understanding that like, hey, this isn't serious. Like, you don't get to text me every 5 minutes and ask me what I'm doing, which I'm dealing with right now with a very lovely young Albanian man. You don't get to text me all the time. I don't owe you anything. We have this, this was never part of this arrangement, and you made it this. And now I'm annoyed because like I have to be the bad guy. I'm put in a position where I have to be an asshole, and I don't like to be an asshole. I'm just
basically you don't want to be Parker.
No, but I
do not want to be Parker.
But Parker wasn't honest with people.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You have to be honest. Don't be Parker.
And Ashley says she agrees with you that the best approach is to be open and honest.
Hi, Ashley. Love you.
All right, Naomi. Oh, by the way, it's Naomi's birthday.
Happy birthday, Naomi.
Happy birthday, Naomi.
Thank you, guys.
And we will see you soon. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye, darling. We have another guest coming in next.
We do?
Yeah, before we do, let's jump into our next question. Ryan in Phoenix asks, "Oh, hey, show. I'm having trouble understanding my sexuality. I've been with women my whole life, but I'm opening up to my attraction to men and trans women as well. Could you talk about how sexuality works and some tips to an inexperienced person for understanding where they currently sit on the sexual spectrum?" I think that's a good question. And to join us to answer it, we have our stalwart producer and fact checker, BJ.
Yeah, I was just thinking if there was a question that was more right up my alley. And by up my alley, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Well, this is a good question, though, honestly, because a lot of people, as the only queer person that's on this right now, I'll tell you that, like, it can be very confusing when you're trying to, like, put yourself into a box, you know, and, like, label what you are, especially if you're young and you're trying to figure shit out. So I want to hear from you guys what you think the approach should be on this.
I'm gonna let BJ go first because I don't know where we're going with this question yet. I don't know what the travel is.
I find something that gets you off and hit it a lot.
BJ, that's such great advice.
That actually is real good advice.
I mean, well, I feel like it's becoming more mainstream now, so it's more accepted. So they think there's more people that are talking about it. So you find out more people that you can talk to and get advice from. I mean, okay. I understand and I respect so much about those who choose to not gender identify, who choose to have different things. There is one thing that I have a problem with, and it's not personal, it's grammatical. Okay? You cannot be a they if you are one person. It just doesn't work because it is a plural. In my mind, it does not compute. I was in too many English classes for me to be like,
okay, JK,
you are not they.
We got you.
I am happy to call you you. I am happy to call you by your name, and you are an incredibly important person. I just have like an inner tick where it just like, because what if you say like, hey, are they coming?
Let me give you a hypothetical. Okay, you open your door and you see like a box has been delivered, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wow, a box. Like, where is the person who delivered this? How would you refer to, what pronoun would you use for that person?
The delivery person?
Yeah.
The delivery person.
What pronoun would you use?
Or it's he or she.
I wouldn't. I identify them as a delivery person. And I happen to know our delivery man who comes here every day, and he is a man, where my mail lady is a woman.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm stereotyping what they are. I'm just actually identifying them as themselves.
Okay, so
that... go ahead.
No, go ahead, Beach.
Of the attempts over the years of bridging this, the one I liked the most that didn't catch on was to use Z, the letter Z-E, for both he and she, and just make that switch completely. I like that.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Jewel, it's all fine. But
it's all fine.
Fine.
Please don't take it as a slight for me. I have, like when people who type like your and your, it drives me crazy.
Okay, hang on. Who watches Star Trek Discovery?
Oh, BJ, please.
Okay. There is a character this season.
BJ's been inside for a while too.
Who is non-binary. Non-binary character. Well, I should say that non-binary actor. I don't know. The character, it's a little unclear.
What?
The character has a boyfriend who's trans. The actor is.
But I think that's the best answer to the question.
The show doesn't go into any of this. However, there is a scene where this non-binary character requests to be referred to as they. And I didn't get it at first, but that character has a Trill symbiote in them, which makes them actually multiple people. That character in Star Trek is a they. And I was like, oh, they're getting so woke. How awesome is that? And then I'm like, wait,
But
they
it
just
turns out no.
completely.
It's just
Well,
it's like a hive mind.
Yes, it is. But then they got a non-binary actor to play that character.
It's like that movie Identity.
It's
It's
almost
like
like
they
they're
tried, but they didn't. quite
But
make it.
listen, there
It's
are
also high budget.
conjoined. There are these famous conjoined twins on TLC, Abby and Brittany. They are two torsos on one set of legs.
Okay, Joel.
We are so far away from the
That's
question.
a they.
I love you, Jewel, but I have to say this, and all the love to you. But it's not about you, girl.
No, it's not. It's
Okay,
not. So,
these are people's pronouns. This is how they identify, and
that's what I was going to say too. Even if I don't get it, I call people what they want to be called because it requires like very little effort on my part.
thank you, and stop being the grammar police, because it doesn't matter. And also, just let's be clear, there's like this example, right, where you find something, let's say you find a pair of sunglasses on a restaurant table, and you say, oh, I think somebody left their sunglasses here. You don't know that gender of that person. You do use they to describe a single person.
That's a possessive pronoun, though. That's different.
But it's still a thing. It
doesn't matter. It's a possessive pronoun, so it has different rules.
Point is that
within
we're like
the English language, the way the English language was created.
Off track of answering. Was it Ryan?
We are so gonna get
question? Okay. The reason why I wanted to come back on was to say that this person said they were how old?
I can tell you that Ryan is in his mid-20s.
In his mid-20s? Yeah, okay.
And I've changed his name for this question as I changed the name in the last one.
Okay, perfect. And listen, if you're starting to try and figure that stuff out, that's amazing. And I think
I love it for them.
It's an ongoing journey of trying to figure that stuff out. I am still trying to figure that stuff out for myself, and I'm already married with a child. So it's like, I mean, not to say and I love my husband, but I just turned 37 today, and I'm still trying to figure out what my identity really truly is, and what that even means in the world and whatever. And honestly, this is the best time in history, I think, to be trying to figure out this kind of stuff, depending on where you live, I suppose.
Yeah, well, here's my take on this. And as the spokesperson for the homos in the room, I think that Naomi is pretty much on the ball here. I think that Will's question or answer earlier is also on the ball. Is that you don't have to lock yourself into strict definitions of who you are and what you like. I think that you can experiment, try things out, be safe, obviously. But you can try things out, you can explore, you can whatever, because I don't think that anyone is one thing or another. I think that sexuality is a huge spectrum, and I think that gender is a huge spectrum. I think that we're all somewhere on this spectrum of what we are and what we want to be. And I don't think that things are black and white, and I don't think that you can lock yourself into a box. I think so that's my answer to that question, and I forgot what name I made up for him, so I'm not gonna. I think it was
Ryan.
Let me just chime in one last quick thing. It mostly covers the same ground, but by virtue of the fact that you're asking, I would assume you're looking to embark on this project seriously in the short term, which I heartily recommend. I would urge you not to waste any time, but I would also urge you not to rush. You have all of your life to figure it out. You're never going to figure it out. Nobody does. You just learn more and more. You don't need to do that yesterday.
And
Take
also,
it easy.
your sexuality, like any kind of taste that you have, but like any kind of preference that you have or whatever, it changes over time. I don't like the same things that I liked when I was 20. I don't like the same things that I liked when I was 15. Like, things change and grow, and it's okay that you allow yourself to change and grow and try things and hate things or like things. Like, I think it's totally okay, but I do think that you need to say yes to things, and I do think that you need to try things out and not lock yourself. While I say don't lock yourself into the box, you also can't lock yourself into not trying new things because you're afraid you might like them, which is the dumbest reason to not try something new.
Right.
One more thing that I wanted to say was that I can kind of imagine that one of the problems that sometimes that people would have is that if you don't give yourself a label, then how do you put yourself out there? right? Because people just assume that you're straight, and so therefore nothing happens with same sex or trans or whatever.
Never had that problem, weirdly enough.
You know what I'm saying, though,
I get what you're
right?
saying, yeah.
Like, you know, and so I can understand the kind of dread of like that you have to come out if you want to participate in the community. But you know, so figuring that out, it's really, really personal. And yeah, okay, I think that's about all I have. I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Let's just say that. And yes, I was going to suggest Schitt's Creek. Absolutely.
Yeah, go
I
for the
just finished
wine,
it
not the
yesterday. Oh my God. Wine, not the label. Wine, not the label.
BJ, you can stick around for a couple more questions with us, right?
Oh, fine.
Naomi.
Okay, yeah, I'm
Naomi,
going to.
Wait, Naomi. Weirdly enough, yours was the next question I had on my list. Do you remember what your question was?
I so don't. I was actually going to ask you.
It was about Jewel and an incident with fire.
Oh, yes. Tell me.
What?
When you were in Bali, apparently you said you got caught on fire in Bali.
No, that she was set on fire, like intentionally. Tell me more.
Well, I did two separate things with fire in Bali. One of them is I did the vagina steam that Gwyneth Paltrow talked about. Yeah, that was a lot. It didn't really do anything. And also I did it very publicly. Like I literally just yeah, it was weird. I didn't love it.
No.
I think Marilyn Monroe invented that though when she stood over that grate.
She sure did. And it just gets very toasty. Yeah. The other thing I did was I went and I saw this healer whose name was Dr. Bobby. She was about 4'11". Her skin was the color of leather and her eyes were like fluorescent blue. It's like she'd been in the sun tanning for a very long time with this white pixie cut. She was a Chinese medicine practitioner in Bali. And she said to me when I got there, take off your pants. And I was like, weirdly enough, I was like, okay. And just pants came down. Meanwhile, I don't know if you know this, but houses in Bali are completely open. Like there are no walls, really. Like the only place where there is a door or a wall is where you sleep. Everything else is totally open. Like you can wave to the people across from you. So I am pantsless on someone's balcony, basically. This older woman who tells me to lay down on this bed and she's going to start doing acupuncture on me. And she's going to start doing some cupping and things like that. Next thing I know, I'm like, wow, it's getting very hot. I don't understand why. And then she's like, okay, honey, take off your shirt. So top comes off while I have needles in my body. And I'm like, God, why am I so hot? Very warm out here. God, like it's Bali. It's supposed to be fucking hot. It's on the equator and shit. Okay. Then I flip over. And this is after an hour of needles in my back. I flip over. She's doing needles on my front. And I tilt my head up because, again, I feel heat. This bitch is putting a little cube on top of each of these needles and lighting it on fire. I have flames coming out of my legs. And what are you going to do at that point? I was just like, I was frozen. I learned what my fight or flight was, is that I don't have one. And my fight or flight is to freeze. And so I'm laying there and I'm like, I can't move. Automatically, I have to pee because I can't move. And I just have to lay there because what am I going to say? Take them out? Like we are midway. And then she puts one in the center of my forehead. And I'm just like, oh my God, don't move, don't move, don't move. Like all I could see was burning off one eyebrow and coming home with one eyebrow. And what was my mother going to say?
Wait, did she set that one on fire?
Yes, every single one was on fire.
I don't understand. I need a video or something because this is just bizarre.
Stick, little white thing that she put on top of it, almost like
and then it's just like
puff, and lights it on fire.
Holy cow! Okay.
Yeah, I know. Okay. That's how I got lit on fire.
Well, that was fun.
Well, I learned one thing from Dr. Bobby. I learned one thing, like major thing from Dr. Bobby, and is that she said to me, honey, you've been seeing the same therapist for 7 years. Why aren't you better?
All right.
Well, think about how much worse you would be without that therapist.
It's true.
Before
So
we
I stopped seeing that therapist.
before we leave this question, I have something relative ish. That was in Bali. I permanently live in Thailand, but I haven't been back in a while because of COVID. But I managed a little hotel on an island in Thailand, and these fucking
Koh Phangan.
idiot tourists, yes, these fucking idiot tourists go out and they light the people who own the bars on the beach will light these jump ropes on fire, and they'll do like jump ropes like with oil. They light them on fire.
Absolutely not.
Dumb drunk tourist will jump over these things that are on fire, and they will inevitably get burns, and they're like 3rd-degree burns because there's oil all over this fucking thing. And these people are idiots, and they have a limbo pole too, and they do a limbo pole on fire as well. I will never do it. I've never had any interest in doing it. I won't do it when the limbo pole is 3 feet above my head, because all it takes is one little drop. I wear a hat every day because I'm but one little drop of oily fire dropping and I'm dead. I'm not doing it. It's never going to happen.
Absolutely not. What kind of imbecile are you? And what are you drinking? Straight ethanol. You're going blind, motherfucker.
All right, Naomi. Thank you again.
Okay.
Man.
Goodbye for reals.
Bye. Bye, Naomi.
Okay, do you know drinking all that ethanol can make you blind? They say in Bali, if you do it, it makes you blind. Happens to Australian tourists.
They say a bunch of things make you blind if you do them too much. Okay, so our next question is in my email. I just got it from Sarah Collison, who's always watching our show. So I'm so happy to hear from her. She says, and this is directed at me, so sorry. When traveling to a new country for a first-time visit, how do you know what sites to see and where to stay that isn't the regular tourist traps? This is coming from someone who has never been out of the States. Also, do you have any fun or horrible travel stories? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, same. Okay, so I'll start on this one. When I first go to a new place, I like to go to places that are not touristy at all, apart from my hotel in Thailand. I like to go to places that are very kind of off the beaten path. And the way that I do this, I use a couple websites, and you can jot these down, and maybe Naomi will throw them in the comments for people watching this on repeat. There's a website, Wiki Travel, which is basically what it sounds like. It's a Wikipedia for travel. It tells you how to get into the place you want to go, how to get around, what restaurants to go to, what things to see. Traveling around in places, especially because I was in like Ukraine and Moldova and Belarus and Albania and Montenegro and places where English isn't super commonly spoken. Getting around can be difficult. Wiki Travel is awesome for that. And it also has information about like visas and that sort of thing for when you first arrive. So that's the first thing I would say. I use a website called Atlas Obscura because I like to see the weird and kind of unusual sites to see when I go to a place. So I've been to like abandoned Olympic bobsled tracks. I've been to churches made entirely of human bones. I've been to like really cool, I like weird shit. So I'm all about and like super weird. Like I went to a David Hasselhoff museum in Berlin that I found on this. Like it's kind of all over the place. So those are those two questions. And then do I have any fun or horror travel stories? I have lots of fun travel stories. Staying at hostels is how I have the most fun because I even if you're older like me and you like to stay in like a private room where you're not sharing the room with people, but you still like mingle with them in the hostel environment, highly recommend it. You get to meet a lot of people. And you know what? I'll combine a question that's coming later that I can just knock out now. Was how do you travel cheap? Stay in hostels. They're so much more fun than you think they are. And you get to meet people. And especially if you're a solo traveler, it changes everything. I can talk about travel all day, but that's my thing. Horror stories. I left my bag on a bus in Albania like a month ago with my passport and my laptop in it. And then it drove away to another city. And I was at a bus station where nobody spoke English, and I was having a full-blown panic attack. And the bus driver drove back in his personal car 45 minutes from the next city that he went to and delivered it to me in person. And like 6 people had to call him and figure out who he was and what company it was because it's all disorganized. It's not run by any central company there. And all these people worked together to get me my bag back, and they wouldn't take any money from me. And that's why I love Albania. So whoever wants to go next, let's hear.
It's probably the most exciting moment of their day too. They're like, yes, get the foreigner his bag back.
Oh, and I like to stay at Airbnbs. I like to stay at Airbnb like apartments because I like to kind of see how the local people live. All right, Jewel, what's your answer?
I have traveled pretty extensively. I was very lucky. I've traveled around the world. The only place I haven't done is mainland Europe. So there's that. I think that I agree with Brandon. Those are all great things. What I do when I'm figuring out where I'm going is there is a great resource, especially for the women in the audience who are listening. What's happening? It's called Girls Love Travel, and it's a Facebook group. It's fantastic. You can ask any question. You get tons of recommendations. The girls will chat back and forth with you. When I went to Bali, I went by myself, and I got hooked up with a driver, with a hotel, with all kinds of stuff from this Facebook group. I think, use the resources. The internet is an amazing thing, but also social media is a great unifier. And you can find people who are like-minded or interested in the same things. I found great spas. I found great healers. I found all kinds of stuff. And I also agree with the Airbnb thing. I love staying in an Airbnb. I don't stay in a hostel well. It's not something I am inclined to do, but I support it for you. I love that
well,
you
I
can
like
do
the
it.
social atmosphere of a hostel, and I like to stay in a place for a few weeks and like really get to know people and that sort of thing. I also will say real quick, one more thing is, like you said, the group for women that are traveling, very, very important. If you're a solo female traveler or a solo LGBT traveler, depending on where you're going, I highly recommend joining those travel groups on Facebook as well. Because you can also learn, is it safe to go here? Can you go out at night? Can you da-da-da-da? And I find people are overly cautious in a lot of situations when it comes to travel, but better to be overly cautious than not cautious enough.
Oh, totally. I always get a driver from those when I travel by myself. It's always a driver recommended by someone else who's had great experiences. And a lot of them will put their references on websites or even on their Facebook pages, which is really nice.
Yeah. BJ.
You can have like a testimonial.
You got any travel horror stories?
I don't travel much. No.
You got any fun travel stories?
I mean, I go to Burning Man, so there's that.
That's a travel to another dimension. But do you have any travel horror stories, Brandon? Do you have any awful things that have happened in your travels?
Well, I told the story about my bag disappearing. Oh, I got arrested in Poland.
There you go.
How did I forget that one? I had some edibles in my bag that I forgot were in my bag. And I was leaving from Germany to go into Poland, and the bus was randomly stopped by police, and they brought a drug dog out. And I got arrested and thrown into the back of a police car, or police van, and questioned. And they went through all my stuff, and they asked me immediately. Oh God, this story I've told a million times. But they asked me like, do you have drugs in your bag? And I said, yes, because I'm not going to lie in front of a drug dog. So they went in, and it was like little mint edibles. And I had just by chance remembered that Poland had legalized medical cannabis. This was in April, and they had legalized it in December. So it was like brand new. So I just came up with a fucking lie, and I told them I had taking edibles for a brain tumor. So now God is going to give me a brain tumor. But it got me out of going. It got me out of going to Polish jail. They believed me, and they let me keep my drugs. It was pretty crazy, and I'm very lucky, and I know that I'm very lucky because a lot of people couldn't get away with that. But when you're raised by sociopaths, you learn how to not sociopaths, just one, just my dad. You learn how to lie.
I have not been arrested, but I've been put in quarantine twice. Yeah. So not just like America's quarantine right now, like literally when I got off I was on semester at sea for college. So when I got off the boat in Brazil, my very first stop, my mother is not big on Western medicine. So I was given supplements to take to protect myself from the malaria. So I am allergic to garlic supplements. We found out that day when I took all of my pills, and my body broke out in the most massive splotchy hives you have ever seen. As you can tell, my skin is very white, and I looked like a Dalmatian, but like red and white. It was so scary, and they put me in quarantine. They're like, "What is wrong with you? You can't come into Brazil." And I just sat there for 3 hours until it went away.
Okay, so let's jump into our next. BJ, I'm going to keep you on for one more if you don't mind, and we're going to
one more. BJ, make it a good one.
I'm down with it.
We're going to add. Will is here.
Hey,
Will.
Will.
Hi. Let's go.
All right, guys, are we ready for the next one? Let's do this.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if my computer is going to cooperate. Okay, here we go. Is that going to work? Let's find out. Oh, my hell. Ryan in Vegas, hey Vegas, asks, hey guys, what have been your favorite episodes of Buffy seasons 1 to 4? I've been watching along and I'm absolutely obsessed with your takes on the show. All right, who wants to start
for
first?
real?
Yeah.
I need some time. I got to look up my notes.
Okay. Will, what are some episodes that stand out to you from what we've watched so far?
Oh dear God.
Also, your haircut is fantastic.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
it's great
you.
haircut. Well,
I cut it myself.
Was it with a Flowbee?
No, although I should get one of those.
I want to order one for my dad.
It's a vacuum and a haircut.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm old enough to remember those. So Buffy. Oh my God.
Also, thank you to Ryan for not asking us about Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
No. and that's
Okay, let's be clear. I loved the hyena episode. I still, to this day, it's one of my fucking favorites. It was so good. Also, I liked Beer Bad Suck It, Brandon. And I also liked the silent one. The silent one was great.
Hush. Yeah.
Hush. Those are my top 3 off the top of my head. Also, and always that has a constant placeholder in my heart is Robin Riker's episode.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say. You have 2 season 1 episodes in your favorite episodes. Nobody else in the entire fandom has 2 season 1 episodes, and you have Beer Bad.
They don't have good taste.
I'll say that Buffy, the one thing that they do really, really good is finales. Like the finales are all really good. And they bring it together.
Hold on. With this last season, the pre-finale.
Right. What we consider the real finale, not the extra, whatever crazy that was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I like those. I like Prom, even though the episode wasn't that great, but I do like the ending of Prom and like the award given to Buffy. Yeah. There's moments in different episodes that are just so well written that kind of supersedes some of the junk that goes into episode 2. So I can't say
Inca Mummy Girl.
Oh, that was really good.
You love
that was really
Inca
good.
Mummy Warrior Princess was one of my favorites. And also the one where Giles and Joyce are young.
Band Candy.
Yeah, that was okay.
We get a throwback to that in this upcoming season.
I was messaging Jewel a week or 2 or who knows when, and we were talking. We talked quickly about the fact that me and Jewel are watching it as adults now for the first time versus you guys who grew up with it. And our view, we kind of feel right. Well, we feel kind of bad sometimes because we're like it's good, but I don't get that feeling that you guys get where it's like that super fandom of love for it. And I'm like, I don't see it necessarily. I enjoy the show. I think it's well written, but I don't know if I'd go back and watch the show over and over and over again. And I'm curious if it's just because of the timing of watching it versus like growing up with it. Cause I can see like you guys talk about how there's issues that as a high schooler or college student, you guys dealt with that are in the show. And it was very relevant. And as grown adults, it's not quite the same, but I get that those were there. And so I'm curious if that would change the view. Cause like some of our views, I feel really harsh, but I'm viewing it as me now watching the show.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's like if you watched Dawson's Creek for the first time when you were in your 30s and you'd just be like, what the fuck are these people complaining about?
It helps if you're deeply immature.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I started watching Dawson's Creek in my early 20s and I was like, yes, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I saw Dawson when it came out, but I've seen it
for sure.
Dawson does not hold up as well, unfortunately.
It really doesn't. A lot of it, the college years in particular, are not very good. But the ending is great.
Yeah, but like Buffy does hold up. Like it's still a good show. Sometimes it's that love for it that I'm like, I don't get that, but I appreciate it.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I mean, I do have my 3 shows that like I have my favorites. Like I can watch Gilmore Girls and just have it in the background doing nothing. I can have Friends in the background. I can have Grey's Anatomy first 5 seasons in the background. This is fine in the background, but it's not like, ooh, I have a craving to watch it.
Yeah.
I literally watch it almost every day. I mean, I put it on in the background and do other stuff, but I
fall asleep to Friends.
There's a very sad episode coming up this season, and I talked a little bit about my stepdad passed away on New Year's Eve, and I've been here dealing with all that. And watching that episode is weirdly like cathartic and therapy-ish for me. It is
therapeutic.
Yeah. Thanks.
I like
it's
therapeutish. I'm good with that.
It's one of the things that's really helped me get through this is kind of watching this, because this episode just fully breaks down like everything that you feel when something like this happens. So I highly recommend that you watch that if you haven't yet, and we're going to watch it on the show. BJ, what about you? What are some favorite episodes of yours so far?
Well, I was looking back through it, and clearly season 4 is my favorite so far. I think I have 6 A- this season. However, looking back in season 3, Earshot.
Oh, yes.
Earshot.
Earshot is the one where Buffy could hear other people's thoughts, and then Jonathan was in the tower with the gun.
I didn't remember liking it as much as I did. So I knew I liked it the first time I saw it. Didn't remember it that well, but the second time my notes basically say this worked on every level, and it was a piece of art. Tons of good ones, but so far that was the one that stood out to me as being surprisingly great.
Nice. I decided to do something different with my answer. As you guys have been talking, I've been Googling the list of episodes from each season, and I'm going to pick just 2 from each season that stick out for me. In season
That's a
1,
lot.
I know. In season 1, Prophecy Girl, the finale, and The Witch, which I actually think The Witch is a great like standalone. If that was a movie, it would be a great movie. Like it could be. It doesn't have to be Buffy. It's very well written and well acted.
Does that girl come back? The one that's a rat?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
But yes. From season 2, I really like I Only Have Eyes for You, which is the episode about the students that were in the relationship and their ghosts possess people and make them react their scene.
I don't feel like I gave that a good score.
I don't think it was
a very good episode.
And then I also really like Passion, which is the episode where Angel kills Jenny Calendar. I think it's very sad and very like creepy and whatever. Season 3.
I don't miss her.
Season 3. I know that you guys hate it, but I love Gingerbread, the one with the 2 kids.
Oh please!
That's
bad.
For shame, Brandon. For shame. I guess you're gonna say the other one.
I love Moo. I think it's hilarious. No, the Zeppo's not one of my favorites. And then I like Doppelgangland, which is where the vampire Willow comes back, and they.
Oh, that was a great one.
Yeah,
that was.
I also like the Halloween one where Willow with Bad Willow.
Yeah, that's the one where they wear the costumes. They become the costumes.
Yeah,
that's back in season 2. In season 4, Hush is an obvious one, but I also really liked Fear Itself, which was the Halloween episode of season 4 where that haunted house is like all closed off and stuff. And I really like Superstar. Which everybody hates.
Oh, no,
I love Superstar.
No,
I knew he was going to say Superstar because that's like his A+ episode.
But I also love Fear Bad. So
yeah. So that's my answer to that question. Those are those not necessarily my favorites, but the ones that stand out as I just look at the list of episodes. Okay, let's BJ, I'm going to say goodbye to you. We'll keep Will on for another question. Then we got a whole lineup of people trying to get in here. So
bye, everyone.
Do we really?
Yes. All right,
wow.
Bye, Beach. Mwah. All right, Will.
Yeah.
Are you ready to help us with our next one?
Sure.
Our next one.
Make it fast answers.
Okay. Our next this is an easy one. My friend Remington emailed this to me, and he asks, can you give any advice for young guys trying to date in their early 20s?
Oh, God.
Right now in COVID?
No, generally.
Like date boys or date girls? What
Date
are
girls. He likes girls.
Oh. Okay, I have to like for real, be an actual gentleman. Like call her and talk. If you want to talk to them, call and talk to them. Don't text her and be like, what's up? Be an adult about it. Put your big boy panties on. I think that is some great advice. I've noticed, that myself with gentlemen who are older than that, who text and try and establish a relationship that way, and it does not work. You have to open my mind before you open my legs.
Oh.
There's the quote of the night right there.
Will, as someone who liked to date women in your early 20s, or at least tried to, do you have any advice for the young guys?
I'm still trying, and it's not easy. It's not easy. Besides COVID, with social media and everything, and apps and all that stuff, I go with Jewel as manners go so far. I'm very old school in the way that I believe in dating still. I think making things personal always works. As far as call, don't text, make the effort with the person. Like it does go.
Show them they're special.
Yeah. And like in today's world where all we do is live off of texting and DMing, it makes a huge difference and it stands out big time when you can be able to do it personal. As far as trying to meet somebody, like go somewhere, that good luck. I couldn't figure that out back then. I can't do it now. Like I'm so against like the app thing, and I have nothing against people that do it. It doesn't work for me. So I'm not, but I don't go to bars either. So it's not like I can just go meet some random girl in a random spot. So it's not easy, but so good luck. But as far as if you meet someone, it's really easy. Manners, make it personal, put the effort in. And this goes for guys and girls. If the person's interested, they will make an effort. Do the same thing. If you're interested in them, make the effort. Don't play the games, and everyone appreciates it.
And really, don't be so afraid. I think that is a big one. Like, don't have fear about it. Everyone is trying. And so what? If this person judges you, you're never gonna fucking see them again anyway. So who cares?
Yeah.
All right. Great. These are good questions. I like these. I'm going to go ahead and agree with both Will and Jewel on this one. I think that getting away from the texting and the apps and the this and the that and the that.
Get away from your phone.
Getting away from all that is the way to go. The apps are bullshit. The apps are toxic. They lock you into these things. I would also add my biggest advice for relationships of any kind, business, friends, or romantic, is be upfront about what you want. Be upfront about how you feel. The very worst thing that can happen is that you lay it all out there and the person rejects it. And the reality is, if they're going to reject it, they're going to reject it now, or they'll reject it in a week. I wouldn't start with it, but I would say pretty early in your mingling, you need to say, like, I'm focused on this. This is what I want. And if it's just, I want to, go on dates, have fun, hook up, great.
Then say it.
Then say it. But don't lead people on when you don't want it. And more importantly, don't pretend like you don't want something more when you do and you're just trying to play coy or hard to get or whatever. I hate the rules. I hate the wait 5 days before you call bullshit. I hate every single one of those things. That's some boomer bullshit. That is not how human beings are supposed to interact with each other.
No. You should, if you enjoyed your date, you should later that evening or the next morning, at least text the person to say, hey, I had a great time. Like that much is enough to do something. The other thing, and I read this somewhere, it's a power move thing, and it's a good thing to get rid of. If you're on a date, the best thing you can possibly do, and it's a subliminal thing, is have your phone gone. Don't even have it on the table, even if you're not looking at it. It is a power move to put your phone out, because it says that
something else can be more important than you are.
Right. And by not even having it there, you're saying you're more important than anything else I'll come across. It's a very simple thing you can do. And subconsciously it goes very far.
Yeah. I want to be more like that. And maybe when COVID's over and I start doing more social things, I really want to be the person that is just like, let's just put our phones away and just like spend time with each other, because who knows when another virus is going to break out and we won't be able to do it again. Honestly, like if I could go back to pre-COVID days, I would have done more of that.
Oh, absolutely. I wish I didn't have this phone sometimes.
Yeah. After I read that article, I started being a lot better about it. And like when I go to like restaurants and stuff, my phone is always in my pocket. And I try, unless I'm very uncomfortable because it's tight pants or something, it's gone.
No comment. All right. I'm going to bring another person in for our next question, if you guys are cool with it.
Yeah.
Ashley's here. Hi, Ashley.
Oh my God, yay!
Hey.
Ashley, I have kind of a heavy question, or I have a light question. I'm going to let you decide which one we do first.
Oh, well, then let's start light and go heavy.
Okay, great. In that case, I have to change the slide. Okay. So
let's go dark and then go light. Can we do like a short dark? How dark is this darkness?
Let's go light first, because I've already changed the slide. Okay. So Carol in Kiev, Ukraine asks, there was so many TV shows and movies and music released last year. what were some of your favorites?
Oh, I'll go first. I love the Nexium stuff. I love that shit. And then also I really liked Flight Attendant was fantastic. Bridgerton was fluff and it's good. I don't know. Stuff at the end. It's great.
Will.
I'm a little bit old, I guess, because I just figured out podcasts for the first time a while back, and so I'm listening to.
You've been on them for a year,
right? I know, right? But like just finally sitting down and actually listening to them before I'm like, I can listen to my music because I'm big into music. But podcasts I've been listening to Unspooled, which is all about the AFI Top 100, and so I've been watching all those old movies and listening to discussions. So I've really enjoyed that. So not so much new stuff as much as going way back into why things are considered the best.
I did 2 AFI specials.
Nice. Ashley, what about you?
I'm just saying AFI.
For me, I mostly watched a lot of old stuff, but I think the thing that I loved new is Lovecraft Country. That was one show that that really, I was like, yes. Yeah. I was very gung-ho about that.
I hear it's Buffy-ish. I hear the writing is very Buffy-ish. Or maybe not.
I guess that's fair, but I feel like people can find comparisons anywhere.
Yeah.
I really wasn't noticing that. I have to say that the themes were really what had it for me. So I wasn't really noticing. I mean, it's fantastical in the sense of it's fantasy in a way, and it does have your monsters in it. So there's that. But Lovecraft Country was so far my favorite thing from last year. But yeah, mostly I was watching old stuff. I rewatched Fringe. I was rewatching Numbers. It was all the old stuff that I found myself going back to.
Nice. Yeah, I think in terms of movies, it was stupid as hell, but I loved Wonder Woman 84. That was okay. There haven't been a ton of great movie. Oh, I watched one on Halloween. We went and watched this movie in the I went to a theater because I have a death wish. But there was nobody there, so it was fine. We watched this horror movie that was Amblin Entertainment produced. I can't remember what it was called, but it was really fabulous about this autistic kid, and there's a demon inside of the iPad that he uses to communicate. I really loved it, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was great. Well, I'm sure that Naomi will find it and put it in the comments. So I really like that. In terms of TV shows, The Haunting of Bly Manor, I absolutely loved and broke my heart. And I like Flack, which is now on Amazon Prime, but I've been watching it for 2 years, which is a show that Anna Paquin plays a PR.
Yes, I started watching that. It's great.
It's fabulous.
6-part series.
And the episode that Bradley Whitford is on, friend of the show, Bradley Whitford is on, is really, really fabulous. And then I also... what else? Oh, I've been watching a whole lot of Nailed It on Netflix because nothing makes me happier than not just the complete failures of these people that do not know how to bake and end up baking just a disaster. Not only that is funny, but Nicole Byer's reaction to each of them, where she just goes, "Oh," is every time she does it, she laughs without exception. Maybe I'm a basic bitch, but I love Nailed It on Netflix.
All right, now what is this dark question you have to ask us?
All right, let's get through.
Does it have to be heavy? I'm just saying, do we get to choose? Can I go through another door? Where is the entrance to Olmec's temple? How do I get there?
Here we go. Oh, nope, here we don't go. Here we go. So Keely in Pensacola says that her mother died at the end of December and she had a lot of medical issues. A couple days before, they were talking about knee surgery and how she planned to go as long as she could before getting it again, and then she died. Their relationship was complicated. She was raised Catholic and she changed religions a lot, but Catholicism was at her core, and it created a lot of tension between Keely and her mother, especially in terms of her sexual orientation. Keely is married to a woman and they have wonderful kids, and she's a great person, and I've known her for 100 years. Days before her death, she posted something that was really hurtful. Her mom was very Trumpy and very just exactly what you're picturing in your head. How do we suggest that she deals with the mixed emotion she feels toward this woman? Should she feel guilty for not exclusively being sad? I told you it was heavy.
No, I have a friend who I just dealt with this exact same thing with. Their mother passed a few years ago, but same views, same situation where they passed with very not loving words back to their son. So I feel for you, because my friend's been dealing with this too. Therapy helps. I know it's not always the greatest thing to throw off to somebody, but it does, because there's no real right answer to this. It is okay to have feelings of not sadness necessarily. Those feelings are completely legit and okay. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel upset that you couldn't have that conversation and she could accept you. Those are all completely acceptable things. Like, don't ever feel bad because you don't feel the way somebody tells you you should. You should feel how you feel, and that is okay. That's the first thing. Secondly, once you're calm enough, my friend, what he's been starting to do is he goes to the site and has kind of conversations with his mom that he couldn't have when she was alive. And I know it's not a substitute, but it allows him to kind of vent out those feelings and those frustrations the best he could. So those are just a couple little things. Sorry, I know I took over. My bad.
No, it's okay. That's great advice.
And I'm trying to think what else he has been going on. Talk to other family members and have their support if you can. It helps. You can't win over someone who's not there anymore, and that's the hardest thing, because your mom is your mom and she's not there. So you'll never know if you'll ever make her proud or she'll ever change the ways, and that's the hardest thing overall, because it doesn't change what was left with. And we say dumb things. Social media allows us to spout out horrible things that we don't necessarily always mean, but we
or
think
that lack context and tone and all those things that you
right.
Get.
And we say things without thought because we just put it out there, but then it's out there. And there are things that maybe we thought for a moment and normally we would never say out loud, but we did. So you have to take those with a grain of salt. And also how we interpret that information is also a big part of it. So maybe she said something or like post like, hey, there's a thought, and we take it as, oh my gosh, it's the most hateful thing ever. And I'm not saying to justify what's being said, but it's hard because it doesn't necessarily reflect everything the person thinks or is.
I agree. And I think we're going through this a bit now. I don't want to get too deep into my shit that's happening now, but there's a lot. Grief takes weird forms, and you can have grief not just for how things were, but how things should have been or how you think that they should have been. And, this shouldn't have happened this way. This event didn't have to happen. This argument didn't have to happen, whatever. And that's why, like, the people that you're around that are still alive, treat them well, because you can't fix that with people that aren't there anymore.
Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So be as kind as you can be today. Everyone's struggling.
And being a dick is not worth it just to be right. Being right is so overrated. Ashley, what's your take on this?
Or would you rather be right or happy was a quote I heard in a movie one time.
Exactly.
Well, I definitely echo everything that's already been said, but I actually heard this quote recently, and it said that that some family are just relatives and some family is family, and like not all relatives are family. And the only reason why I bring that up in this instance is because of your question of asking, is it okay that you're not sad? So that question in and of itself tells me that a lot has been building up there, that you kind of have already found some type of resignation in the relationship that you did have. And kind of echoing definitely what Will said is that you're allowed to feel what you feel, and no one should make you feel like you can't. You're allowed to feel your feelings, good, bad, or indifferent, because one, the only way you're going to even begin to be able to work through those things is to feel it. Their only way through is through. And so you definitely have to let yourself feel it. You should not feel bad about it. Because also a thing that I always tell people is that just because you're not saying something doesn't make it not true. Yep. If you feel that thing, feel that thing.
Yep, I agree.
It doesn't matter, because you say, is it bad that you feel sad? It kind of doesn't matter whether it's bad or not. If that's what you feel, that's what you feel. And
no one can tell you how to feel. No one can tell you what your feelings are. You're in control.
Yep, I agree entirely. So we are way past the time that we do this podcast for. Jewel, are you down to do this again next weekend?
I mean, I'm not doing anything else.
Let's just
I'm
do it.
available.
We're going to do another one of these advice sessions next weekend. This has been a lot of fun, I think.
It's been so fun, but I have to go.
Jewel has to
tonight.
go, and
I have to go because I'm having a girl date with my closest friends from college, our freshman year of college. We all lived on the same floor, and we're having a special Stein 2 girls night.
So Ashley and Will you guys join us for the next one next week as well?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes,
We'll bring you
definitely.
back on because this has been so insightful and so fun. And I would say, Keely, hang in there, girl, because you just got to
Hang
work
in there,
through it.
girl. Shit's
You
hard,
gotta work through it.
man.
All right, so I'm going to say goodbye to Ashley and Will, and then Jewel and I will sign off in 1 second. Bye, guys. Jewel, this has been a blast. Let's do it again next week. So much fun. We've answered so many questions, some deep,
Love
some
it.
light. It's been all over the place, travel stuff,
Hearts.
everything. We'll be back with our regular show on February 14th with some new adjustments and ideas and things. So please join us for that. And for now, that's it.
That's it. Our girl
I'm
gang.
sorry to
Scooby
anyone
snacks.
who was waiting in there to come in, and we have so many more questions.
Next week.
come
I'm
back.
sorry. We love you.
Grr, arg, bye.
Arg.